MuscleTV, proudly brought to you by Maxines, for the body you want, and Max's, because life's too short to be small.
There's no cure for this one! 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 This one! This one! This one! There's no cure for this one!
Hello everyone, I'm Tony Doherty and welcome to another huge week of MuscleTV. We're on the home stretch for this series now, and although we've only got a few episodes left, we've got a ripper for you tonight. We check in with an ex-bodybuilding world champion who is living proof that you can indeed turn your passion into your profession if you're willing to work for it. And I'll be showing you the top exercises that people get wrong in the gym, and more importantly, the right way to get them done. All this and more, folks, but first up, it's time to check in with strength and conditioning coach, Mark Tobre. This week, Mark's back with Australian Commonwealth Games gold medalist Andrew Maloney to give us a unique insight as to what kind of gym work an elite fighter does to get himself ready for battle.
Today, we're working with Andrew Maloney. Andrew Maloney won Commonwealth Games golds as a 52-kilo boxer. I've been working with Andrew a full year now as his strength coach. His trainer, Brian Butler at East End Boxing, basically looks after Andrew's skills. I really look after Andrew's athletic development. The way I like to put it is that his trainer works on the software, I work on the hardware, making sure that his body is able to box the way his trainer wants him to box. One of the biggest things in boxing, I think, is that lifting weights makes you slower. And it's true if you don't know what you're doing and using partial range of movements. What we want to do is make sure that an athlete has absolutely fantastic range of motion, so they're able to move their arms as freely as they like. So I'm a little bit obsessed with training Andrew, making sure that his scapula, which is his upper back, his external rotation, his internal rotation, are super nice and strong for the fact that he needs, for his boxing career, he needs to stay mobile. And once we create that mobility, then we can add strength to it. But if we start adding strength and weight and muscle to someone who has no mobility, that's when we're going to run into trouble. So as long as we respect the mobility factors, we're going to be able to get an athlete stronger without getting them slower. So we're going to start with Andrew's general lifestyle shoulder hygiene, as we call it, which is just the hanging. So jump up, Andy, and we're going to do this for 60 seconds. And he's really going to push through. And Andy's quite good, so he's going to progress it a little bit and he's just going to tilt to one side. So we're going to do 30 seconds on one side. So he's hanging almost with just one arm. Hanging every day basically just opens up that shoulder really and stretches out the lats to make sure that none of that fascia gets super tight, because once we start to restrict movement, we're not able to move freely. And one of my jobs as a strength coach is to make sure clients always have the maximal range of motion, more range of motion than what they need to do the job, because that's what makes an athlete better. 3, 2, 1, and that's time. Jump down. So now we pair this with this exercise, which we don't exactly have a name for, but Andrew's going to pick this up. We just basically get a stick, put a weight in the middle. Again, this was taught to us by Olympic gymnast coach, Christopher Summers. And then Andy comes up, he's going to hold it for 5 seconds, which is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back down, stretching out his pecs, his biceps, working his traps, back up. What this does is it stretches out their pecs, it stretches out their biceps, and really forces the traps. Whatever's weak, basically, in the scapula, whatever's tight, it's going to address. So if someone has tight pecs, it's going to open them up. If they've got tight biceps, it's going to help stretch that. If they're too weak through the traps, it's going to strengthen that. So it's a great all-round exercise that we give as part of our shoulder hygiene for our boxers. Basically, we're going to be doing 2 to 3 reps today in 6 sets. We're going to start with bench press with bands, and then to pair with that and make sure the balance is right, we're going to do chin-ups. That's going to be the A1 and A2 portion of the weights. We're going to pair them together. He's obviously going to get rest in between. 3 reps. Up, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, fast, good. 4, 3, 2, 1, fast, good. 4, 3, 2, 1, fast, good. we're going to do chin-ups with a supinated grip. Hold. One, stretch forward, stretch it, release, up fast, good. Hold, slow, chest up, good. One more, stretch, up fast. Hold, good, chest up. Really drive, quality reps, quality. Good, stretch, excellent, done. I like bands because it forces and teaches athletes to move loads fast. And with his pressing, we only ever use a close grip press. I actually instruct all boxers when I train them to grab the bar as if they were fighting, so then they outstretch their hands. So another important note is we really only do band training every 3rd week. Band training specifically is quite taxing on the nervous system. So bands isn't something that we use every workout, but we definitely use it when Andy's feeling a bit fresher and we want to challenge him with a different stimulus. Ready? Up we go. Last set. Andrew's programs, on the overview, we do much less exercises than what we would do with, say, physique athlete, but it's all relevant work. So it is short and sharp, and again, it's short and sharp to make sure that we manage Andrew's fatigue levels and that he's got plenty of left in the tank for his PM training, and he can show up to his sparring in tip-top condition. Stretch. The B1 and B2 exercises that we're going to do with Andrew today is external rotation on knee and a trap 3 lift, and we're going to use a variation of the trap 3 lift. It's going to be single arm, and we're going to use it with a fat dumbbell. This is the external rotation on knee. It looks like a fairly easy exercise, but obviously what this exercise is doing is really strengthening the external rotation, the rotators. Again, that's very important in terms of punching power, that we make sure Andy's external rotation is strong enough to deliver, round finishing hooks, uppercuts, jabs. Everything is going to come from that movement essentially there. We need to make sure that it's nice and strong. This movement also specifically here should represent roughly about 10% of his bench press. Keep the chest up nice and tall, and you want to make sure when you do it, the elbow stays nice and still on the knee and it doesn't move. Pull it away, good, 1. Trap 3 is basically the lower portion of the upper trap, and we want to address that because a lot of the time when we're retracting, one of the weaknesses is that our traps are not able to hold that position. So for example, again, this is another thing that on a bench press, this should be approximately 10% of what someone can bench press. If it's not, then we know that the trap, particularly their ability to hold, is probably too weak, and there's some ungained potential. If someone gets stronger in that particular area or that particular movement, they'll probably find that they'll be able to bench press more because they're able to hold a much tighter position. Track, up, 1. Last one. Excellent. All right, perfect, well done. All done, good work, mate.
Thank you.
Alpha Cuts, the new fat burner developed by Alpha Pro Nutrition. The strongest and most effective compounds have made Alpha Cuts the ultimate thermogenic formula for a new generation of athletes. Increase your maximum energy output, suppress your appetite, speed up your metabolic rate, and trigger thermogenesis for hours. Alpha Cuts by Alpha Pro Nutrition. Greatness expected.